everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV, welcoming you back once again, or just saying hi for the first time. It's the first time you've tuned in. Brand new Arcadia floor plan here, very similar to their sister, the Cougar, but what I like about what Keystone does, like Forest River, Rockwood, and Flagstaff are the same, Salem and Wildwood are the same, and there's like multiple other examples. At Keystone, they're sisters, they're not clones of one another, and they kind of took some of the feedback that I saw people leave on Cougars and said, hey, we kind of like that, I think we'll try it. One of the major things they did here, if you look at this, it has a very, very large campsite window, which is awesome. When you're sitting on that sofa, if you just want to look outside, you can. It's great. But it's a power televator, so the TV's not pie high in the sky and wrecking your neck every time you want to look at it. And you don't normally find features like that in this class because that interferes with the dining. So what they did below that entire gigantic picture window, they put this giant extended, you could use it like kitchen counter, but basically it's lowered down to be like dinette level, dining level, table level, and there's two chairs there and two additional chairs if you want to have a couple guests over. So this could be, it's really best to use, I think, as a couple's model, but you have some guest entertainment capacity on something like this in a smaller rig that's like under 30 feet. Now the total weight of this is just under 10,000 pounds due to the hitch weight. I'm probably still going to recommend a 3/4 ton. Very few fifth wheels do I feel comfortable saying, yeah, that's half-ton towable without really diving into the numbers on the truck specifically. But if you're going to be towing and going, the travel access on this, the size, the running gear, it's made for that. This year they've also bulked up on their solar package and improved that a little bit. And overall, Arcadia just doesn't feel like it did last year. They feel like they're really getting serious. And the thing is, I kind of feel like they're just getting started and it's only going to keep getting better. One of the things that immediately defines this one, and I want to kind of point stuff like this out, because I've only covered a few Arcadias, but I've seen some comments in there where people are like, oh, they're just copying everybody else. I mean, there's certain things that are great, and there's certain floor plans that just make sense to build. You know, if they're popular, it makes sense to build them. But I think if you really look at this, like if you peel the stickers off and you forget what brand this is and you just really look at it, they're doing some big things that people really ask for. How about the fact that we are carpetless, ventless? We have now slide floor and main floor matching material, which makes the whole RV look and feel bigger. It's also a little bit easier to clean as compared to that woven marine stuff because it's not quite as a bumpy surface. It doesn't grab crumbs as well, you know. The other thing that this one does here gives us lots of kitchen storage in a shorter, smaller fifth wheel and some really respectable prep space. But it goes beyond that and offers us like some of the best campsite window coverage I've seen in any builder making a floor plan like this. You know, when a brand is truly just really a copycat brand, they won't custom figure something like this out. They'll just copy someone else's build. They use whatever windows their factory happens to already use because that's what's easier, and they'll run with it. And that is not what Arcadia did here. They said, okay, instead of the same booth dinette that everybody's done to death, we're going to come up with something different, and we are going to give you one of the most expansive panoramic views from your seating that you've ever seen in an RV like this. So when you sit down, this is your view right here, and it is absolutely awesome. And by going with that televator that we're going to see kind of demonstrated in a few minutes, they've gotten rid of the neck wrecker part of the television, equation, the entertainment station equation, as it were. And I like what they're doing. Like little details like a charge pad built right into the armrest of that cup holder. I love that stuff. I prefer wireless charging whenever I can. I'm really worried one of these days that I'm going to end up like wearing out the plug port on my phone. And I actually had it happen once, which is why I'm so ultra paranoid about it. And you know what? You wear out the plug on your phone and you can't charge it anymore. She's done, son. So anything I can do wirelessly, whether it's send data or anything like that, I'm going to do it. And it makes a lot of sense to me. There's a couple areas, though, I do think this could be improved and it could do a little bit better. Like, I would love maybe like a pop-up power tower on either side of that sink. Or maybe one like over here in this corner. Because if you look, you don't overtly see outlets. They are hidden under the overhead cabinets. So they are present. They are there. They're just not the most obvious thing that you've seen. Now, they go with a stainless split sink. Some people like a farm sink. Some people don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. I don't know what to tell you about that, but this is how they do it. They use their the Keystone Blade Pier air system, very similar to Cougar in Montana, a lot of your high pro luxury stuff that Keystone makes. And the idea behind this is that it allegedly gets better airflow, less noise, and it has the ability to swap out a residential air filter to get some cleaner air quality out of this thing. But what they did here, I've been asking for years, and I felt instead of just either a table and chairs or a booth dinette, there's space in the RV industry for something like this. Some kind of bar, desk, something like that. And when they make it overlook the campsite of this RV, like imagine looking out at like a mountain or a beach view or something. Oh my good Lord, that would be amazing. But if it is entertainment time, well, good news. You got that easy drop blackout Roman shade with the power televator behind it. And if you're going to have guests, there's a pair of fold-out guest chairs that you can bust out too. And with this being a floor flush slide, if you want to go high to bed instead of theater seat, I see absolutely nothing saying that you wouldn't be able to accomplish that in here. It absolutely should fit. The kitchen has an extra large oven. That's a 12-volt compressor fridge. I'm not seeing a whole lot of gas electric two-ways. If you watch my industry update videos about 4 or 5 months ago, I said that was going to happen, and it is still happening. So it's not that gas electric refrigerators are totally gone from the RV industry, but it does feel like they're on their way out a little bit, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, this theater seat does have a fixed hard armrest in between it. That's where that charge pad's located, and a little storage drawer. That kind of jelly ain't everybody's jam necessarily. Some people like a little more cuddle compliance. You might want to swap out the sofa on this one. And I hope you don't mind. I kind of wanted to find a way to demonstrate how big that countertop was where the dining bar is located, so I just laid across it. I'm a little bit over 6 foot. I did take off my shoes, though. It always grinds my gears when I see somebody leave their shoes on and just maul all over everybody else's furniture. It's just terribly disrespectful. Drives me nuts. Sorry, I'll get off my soapbox, moving on from there. Anyway, what do you think about this? I'm going to call it the forward wall, where the living room bumps up against the bathroom. What they did is they kind of just left it like a place where you could hang some jackets. This is a tricky space because it's only 6-8 inches deep. It's not super deep. And if they make it too blocky and bulky, it's going to feel like you're walking dead into a wall the moment you walk inside the RV. Do you think what they did is great? Do you think it could change somehow? And what would you recommend? I'd be kind of curious to know. That entry door, by the way, all prepped and ready if you want to insert one of those little, privacy shades up in there. Now, they don't do any sort of like in-command Bluetooth command center kind of things on Arcadia. Instead, what they do is they just have these crazy things called switches. And, it feels like, well, maybe they're cutting a corner or whatnot. And I'm sure it costs less what they're doing. But I also don't know that I dislike it because it's not that it's impossible for switches to fail, but it feels a lot less likely. Now, this bathroom right here, they do a good job of giving us some drawer space and a little area for a wastebasket. And as we wrap our way around the corner, you see a porcelain foot flush stool over here with plenty of legroom. And while we're taking a peek at the storage over there on the left, something I want to mention, I'm going to kind of teach you how to fish. If an RV has a conventional 4-inch fart fan in the bathroom, the dollar store 4-inch fart fan like this one, I'm probably going to mention it less. But if it has something other than that, either a big fan or no fan, I'm going to make it a point in every possible video to point that out so that you know exactly what you're getting into. So just to help you kind of interpret my videos moving forward. The upper deck of your Keystone fifth wheels is usually nicely tall, and this one's no exception. I'm a little bit over, I'm probably 6'2", wearing my shoes right now with my peach fuzz on top of my head, and I can fit in that thing no problem. And when it's time for Uncle Gary to shave his shins, he's got the perfect spot to do it right there, yes sir. And why he shaves his shins, I don't know. And why it's only his shins, I'm also clueless. I'm just really not sure. That was a true queen bed, by the way, not a little like Shorty McShortpants bed goblin union kind of little bed. These are 50 amp. The one we're looking at right now has a 15,000 BTU air conditioner in the living room. It is prepped and ready to install a second air here. You get it from the factory, and they're dual ducted airs to really give you maximum airflow. And their nose cap design allows them to include that extra headboard, and by putting the USB outlets right in the middle, it makes so much sense to me. It's the perfect little phone charge station. But look at the power outlets on the side stands for that bed. you might notice they got those Bananarama yellow stickers on them. That means that they are inverter prepped. The by default, the base, totally basic version, no options version of this RV is inverter prepped. If you get the larger solar packages, one of the things that you get along with those is some level of inverter. So you can run some of the outlets potentially, without shore power or a generator, albeit obviously for a more limited time. Looking under the bed here is easy because that's an easy lift bed. Great double dresser drawer storage over there, and that closet slide with some huge closet storage capacity over there. And that's one of the other really cool things about this bedroom design. If you're like kind of claustrophobic, if you don't like feeling like you're sleeping in a coffin, this sort of bed arrangement is very fantastic. Now, the RV industry likes to talk like everybody's a CPAP user, and what I found is only about 1 in 3 RVers are. But the fact is, whether it's a phone charge stand, whether it's a CPAP stand, whether you want a little fan or something like that, or a reading light beside you, this RV with those side stands is very, very friendly to that sort of camping. And even with the slides closed, this RV has some of the best travel access that money can buy. You can use the entirety of that True Queen bed. It's not some weird folding mattress or anything like that. The bathroom, the toilet over here is right over on the hallway and door side, so there's no questions about accessing anything up here. But the living room, the kitchen, this is where it gets so good. Because of the way that this one lays out and because of where they place the refrigerator, by not burying the refrigerator in that back rear corner, by putting the fridge in the slide out, they have made it so that it remains perfectly fully accessible, basically all the time. Not a problem whatsoever. The sink isn't blocked at all. There's plenty of cabinet space that you can get to so you can pack accordingly, and you can even sit down and have yourself a little sandwich. Kind of like a Smokey and the Bandit Diablo sandwich with a Dr. Pepper. Now, that's not what I wanted to talk about. Actually, what I want to talk about, there's these weird things happen sometimes in the comments section on these videos. On a smaller fifth wheel like this, someone's going to say, yeah, but is there going to be a problem by putting a heavy refrigerator and slide out? First of all, refrigerators themselves don't weigh a whole lot. Now, the weight comes from when you pack stuff in. When a manufacturer builds a fridge or a pantry and a slide, they plan accordingly and they structure accordingly. And then when you start getting up to like big Montana fifth wheels that always have giant fridges on the slides, nobody ever questions it. But it's always something that happens in these little ones, and I don't know why. And frankly, my guess is you're probably going to put more weight in the pantry than the fridge anyway. And yes, they're both in this slide, but it's engineered for it. They knew it was going to be there, so they plan accordingly. It's when you put weight where they don't expect that it becomes a problem. And as I kind of started talking about when the video first began, if you look at the weights and measures of this, specifically the hitch weight on this compared to what most half-ton payload ratings are, keep in mind that hitch weight's before cargo. That's one of the major reasons that I still think you want to look at like 3/4 ton and larger pickups for something like this. On-demand water heater, Arcadia does a separated, individualized little docking center, and what's kind of cool about that is it's all like plastic enclosed. So God forbid, let's say you don't even have a problem with the RV, but have you ever just got the hose not exactly screwed on the way it's supposed to go? Lord knows I have. Well, it ends up spraying water all over the place. Well, now it's in a contained cavity instead of getting up here in your pass-through and shooting all over the rest of your cargo. It's just simpler, easier things like that. These have automatic leveling. Just push the button, let it do the work like scrubbing bubbles so you don't have to. And these have shock dampening pin box and suspension packages, and that does more than just give you a smoother ride and experience going down the road. That also helps keep the RV out of the shop. And that sounds like two unrelated things, but think about this. When this sucker's roller quaking down the road, it is literal hurricane force winds outside and an earthquake inside. Anything that helps dampen some of that violence is gonna help the RV, like the cabinets and the fasteners and all the wiring connectors, not rattle as much. And the less they rattle, the more likely you are to stay out of the shop. Oh, I already gave you a look at the pass-through from the other side, didn't I? I'm sorry. Let's pivot. Let's go under the belly. We have, well, we're not actually going to see a lot because it's fully enclosed. And these have a very solid weather package about them. So if you're looking to do, something a little bit off the, peak summer season, you're going to be okay. But you can always slap a second air on this and do the peak summer season too. And this model, something they did really well right here. Look at that awning. Look how freaking large that awning is, and it fully encompasses the rear camp kitchen. They had to do some work. They had to actually keep the taper and the roofline of the RV a little bit taller to accomplish that. And you saw me flash this in our little floor plan and flash preview footage, but this little paddle handle extender here, I like that. You know, sometimes it's the simple little things that just kind of make the difference to me. I like it. Now, on the back corner here, under that L-shaped section of the kitchen counter, you've got their little mini pull-out, griddle, fridge, camp cooker convenience station. But notice how their griddle drops down. So it's actually at like belly level instead of being up where it's going to singe your nipples. And that means that while you're cooking something, you could reach behind the griddle and still get to the fridge without, again, singeing your nipples. Great window coverage on this one. 300-pound accessory hitch on the back. No bumper, but you got the hitch to add stuff if you want to. 250-pound rated ladder to get you up to that fully walkable roof. And up there, by default, you're going to find a newly expanded 220-watt solar panel as compared to the 200-watt that they had previously. Now, along with that, the base charge controller, it's still Victron, but it has upgraded from a 15 amp to a now 30 amp. There's also like the 440 watt package with a 2000 watt inverter and some other stuff that you can get included with this as well. I don't know if you caught, under the skirt line in the rear corner, it does have a rear sewer outlet, and then that'll be just for the kitchen gray tank, and then up here, you have the bathroom black and gray outlet. So this is what I call a two-stage sewer monster, or a two-headed sewer monster, or ye old dually crap caps. So let me know what you think of this. Now, sometimes when something like this happens, like I've debuted like the Cougar version of this floor plan before, and for some reason some people sometimes get some very specific attachments, and I notice some not nice things said in the comment section. Well, you know, it's kind of like GM and Chevy and like all these guys, they make like, you know, 3-seater kind of SUVs, family stuff like that. Like more than one person can build something. I like when different brands put their spin on things. Like the way the whole entertainment is on this, I think that alone could be a make or break between this one or something else like it. Like Arctic Wolf has a version of stuff like this now, and plenty of other brands, because it's an awesome floor plan. If something's good, multiple guys are going to build it. That's just the way of the world. So I'd be curious, what do you think about this one? And to kind of help you with that, I'm going to leave you some links in the video description with a couple other versions of floor plans like this I've recorded from other brands. I'd love it if you checked out one or two of those and let me know which one would you go with and why. And until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.